Good day all you wonderful people, welcome to Adventure Together. My name's Al and today I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you should not consider hiking in the bubble. So I already gave you 3 reasons why you should hike in the bubble. Please check that link out here and watch that video after you've watched this one. So starting off with reason number 1 why you should not hike in the bubble, and that is that people are around you all the time. If you're going out on the trail and you're looking for peace and quiet and getting in touch with yourself, it's going to be a lot harder when you've got people around you all the time. On the Appalachian Trail, you are never far from people. Yes, you can hike alone all day, but most of the time when you get to a shelter, you will find that there are lots of other people. Definitely for the first couple of weeks, there are lots and lots and lots of people on trail if you are hiking in the bubble. If you're not hiking the bubble, you might find it easier to get solitude when you are hiking. You'll find it easier to get a camp space where nobody else is around. Of course, you can always stealth camp and hike alone if you want to during the bubble. You don't have to be around people, but it's going to be a lot harder for you. If you're going out there to get in touch with yourself and have a little bit of mental space, and that's really, really important to you, doing that when you're in the bubble is going to be a lot more difficult. Reason number 2 is it's going to be harder for you when you get to your town stops. Firstly, it's going to be harder to make reservations for places. You might find that when you're in the bubble, you get to town and the hostel that you wanted to stay at is already full and there's no room there and you have to make alternative arrangements. You might find that the shuttle that you wanted to book is already fully booked up for the day and you can't get into town without hitching a ride. But not only reservations for accommodation, but also when you go to resupply. There was a couple of times that I went to resupply when I was right in the middle of the bubble and I walked into Dollar General and the shelves were bare. Now, Dollar General shelves are usually semi-bare anyway, but there were definitely a couple of points where I walked over to the cereal bars or the protein bar section and it was completely bare, like Mother Hubbard's cupboard. Especially if you have dietary requirements like you are gluten-free or you're vegan like I am, then it can be really, really hard when you're hiking in the middle of the bubble to find an adequate amount of food to resupply with and not just be surviving on peanuts. Reason number 3 is similar to number 1 in that there are a lot of people around. But it's not just for the solitude and mental space that we're talking about, like in reason number 1. We're talking about when you get to shelters and campsites. When you're hiking in the bubble, you will find that sometimes you get to campsites and there are no spaces available. Me with a hammock, I would find that I would go to a busy campsite and find a tent placed right in the middle of the 2 most perfect hammock trees and I wouldn't be able to string up my hammock. There was one particular campsite I went to where I had to go way out of the campsite. You might find when you get to the shelter, if they have bear cables or a bear box, that those things are full. There's no space for your bear bag. There's no bigger pain in the butt than turning up late in the day and finding that the campsite that you've been walking to all day is completely full and there's nowhere to place your tent or your hammock and you have to carry on hiking. But it's not only that, sometimes it had been raining all day. We were completely soaked, we were cold, and all we wanted to do was just get to a shelter. The last thing we wanted to do was fiddle about in the rain trying to put our wet tents up. We just wanted to get into a shelter, lay down on the floor and fall asleep. But by the time we reached those shelters, almost every single time, it was already completely full and there was no room for us to stay. So we did actually have to fiddle around with our tents and hammocks and put those up in the rain, and it's the last thing you want to do. Whereas if you're not hiking in the bubble, there's more chance that when you get to a shelter at the end of the day, you're not going to have to compete for space in there. So that's it. Those were 3 reasons that I could think of why you wouldn't want to hike in the bubble. But there's probably more, and if you think that people shouldn't hike in the bubble, then please leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like. Also consider subscribing to the channel. I've got more videos coming up. Also, I'll be out on the Pacific Crest Trail and you won't want to miss those vlogs that I'm going to be putting out next year. Please consider sharing this to anybody that you know that likes camping, hiking or adventure travel. And for now, that's it from me. Thank you for joining me and I'll see you in the next one. Reason number 2 is it's going to be hard for you Reason for